All right, so today's video, we're watching a Plat 5 support on PC playing Ana, Zenyatta, Kiriko, and Juno. A lot of hero pools today in the VODs we've watched. They say, hiya. This match felt like the steepest uphill battle I've had in a while. The enemy DPS seemed to be just melting clean through my team. Our successful attack felt like I practically had a deadlift the entire push myself, from capping first point with a big Ana play to forcing their defense open with Discord Orb for the rest of the push. Maybe that's my ego talking though. I don't feel like anyone on my team was doing anything terribly wrong, and the enemy Sojourn was definitely popping off alongside a pretty impressive Torb. Ultimately, I feel like my team was getting dumpstered the entire time in spite of thinking I was playing fairly well. I barely know how the match even lasted more than 2 rounds. Would love some insight on why this match felt so difficult and some feedback on my own gameplay. I think the match itself was pretty interesting, and the enemy team definitely seemed to be at the top of their game. So basically you're just saying that you feel like you were playing really well or like decent and your teammates weren't, and that's where we're at. Okay, let's see what happens.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
I see you.
Yep. All right, let's see what happens here. Taking a little bit of map control, playing statue. We'll be fine with this for now. Keeping heals up. Zarya needs to heal very quickly. Zarya's gonna need a heal very quickly. Zarya's gonna need a heal very quickly. Zarya's gonna need a heal. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you kind of got a little bit lucky here. You weren't, because your Zarya, I think you were worried about your close to full HP teammates after a certain point, and then your Zarya was just basically running away. So, backing up. Here you go.
Don't give me that
On a grenade. Position is good right now. You're playing behind the statue. You have a nano coming up too. Nano your Zarya right away. Perfect nano. Good sleep on their Torb. That's going to save you from their ult a little bit. Keep in mind, that kind of sucks. That was really unlucky. Just to let people know, when you sleep Torb ultimate, it's not like some heroes where you just lose your ultimate. Torb can still shoot ultimate up to a certain period of time. So if your teammate sleeps a Torb, don't wake up the Torb during ult. Okay, if you're gonna wake up a Torb, that's fine. You know, I'm not saying to do it. I'm saying if it happens accidentally, etc. But if there's one time where you don't want to wake up a Torb, it's when he has an ult, just sit there sleeping, chilling. So I think the team woke up the sleep a little bit too quickly. On a grenade. Nice. Good job. So far you've had, I will say, so far you've had a pretty good start. Not saying it's perfect, but it's been good.
surrender to my will.
There you go. The honor grenade is fine there. I would have went for the hog with that too. Probably would have missed too. Just because like, hog died. Good heals. Someone might flank you. Actually, there's 2 people flanking you. Be careful of going out of position for this, by the way. The worst thing you can do is do that. But you're not paying attention to your Zarya now. Uh-oh. I would nano your Zarya. Yeah. That's on you, though. See, I think, like, just to give you an idea, by the way, and I think it's good that you're nano blade in this. You're going to probably get the point. But I do want to point out that, like, running around in circles there to try to chase them when they're behind you, I think you're going to be better off just keeping your Zarya alive there. Either way, you ended up making up for it, right? You ended up making up for it. But I do want to point out that team fight could have been a lot easier, to the point where, like, you may not even had to use that combo, and it might have saved you some time on second, is basically all I'm getting at. Like, it worked out, but I think it would have been a lot easier. I think, like, trying to just double chase them behind. Yeah, the aim's been fine. I haven't had an issue with the aim.
A taste of poison.
Like, that's not, like, an issue at all. It's, you know, good unscoped aim, too. Unscoped aim. What rank? Plat. Good job going for high ground for now. I find a lot of players obviously don't like to go for the high ground. You get your double grenade. I imagine you have your double grenade with that play. I haven't quite seen, but I think you have double grenade. Oh wait, you just got double grenade, so you forgot about your perk. Okay. So I imagine it's double grenade and crit yourself, usually. Zarya's a little bit pushing up. Nice sleep.
Surrender to my will.
Here's a double grenade.
I won't let you fall.
Nice. Good heals. Yeah, I mean, you've been playing out of fine. The only issue you've had is sometimes you get a little bit too, like, into forget about my tank mode. But, I mean, it's also kind of working, so, you know. Yep, Torb's dead. I mean, it works. You're playing to live there, that's for sure. Oh, well.
Keep fighting.
Yeah, the honor grenades are a bit random for sure. I think what the problem I'm seeing with the honor grenades, though, is they're not taking into account the second grenade. And what I mean by that is you definitely can... There's definitely ways to finesse your honor grenade now to get double the value. Like, if you aim it in certain ways. So I found myself, like, finding more splash grenades now where I find, like, a wall that I know I can get them with and know will bounce back off. So... All right. Zarya's one. Can die there. No one's healing the Zarya because no one's there to heal him, so that's good. Now you need to not... Yep. Remember, you have a Moira there, so try to prioritize just staying alive. You already killed the Zarya. Like, why try to push into the Torb at that point when the only thing that, like, will guarantee you win in the team fight is just staying alive? So...
We will find prosperity.
All right, now you're back on to Zenyatta? Yep.
Enemy turret destroyed.
What rank is Zenyatta again? Plat.
Let me assist you.
Okay, now you're on Zen.
This ends now.
Assistance would be appreciated.
Good blade kill by your Genji. That is a cool looking, like, animation.
Be prosperous once more.
Yeah, you might be hecked here. You're gonna have to go up on high. Okay, good reaction though. Good positioning. Good position. That is good.
A turret lies in our way. The turret is no more.
Nice pick.
Let us attack. A turret.
Holy crap. I do want to point out to people, by the way, you know how I constantly bring up positioning and how it can win you team fights? That right there was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Do you notice how that Zenyatta had gone up to a high ground and, like, while there was a wild team fight going on the point, they didn't have to worry about anything. Did you notice that? Like, at no point did they have to worry about, like, anything. Like, just sat up there. There was no ultimates up to them. Whenever they took a little bit of poke damage, you could just hide behind a wall. This is why I constantly bring up the idea that if you have good positioning, you're going to win more team fights than you normally do. And that was an example of that. I guarantee you if the Zenyatta was on the low ground there, they're not even capping this point. Straight up. So going up to the high ground there, especially when, like, that was looking rough, that's also why I wanted you to, like, prioritize position in the fight before when you got killed on Ana, is because I feel like with your mechanics so far, if you can position yourself consistently well, you're going to climb out of plat like that. Like, straight up. You don't even need to ult this. You're good. Good job. Super Wormy, thanks for the 15 months of the tier 1. Thank you. Appreciate it, Super Wormy.
The payload is on its way.
Good job. This is a cool mythic skin. I want to point that out. Arrows, thanks for the 10 months of that Prime stuff. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, there goes my phone dropping down out of my pocket. You have your ult. I would say be willing to use this ult a bit more freely since they don't really have anything to worry about except for Kitsune. So if you wanted to save for something, Kitsune. If not, just use it freely.
Experience prosperity.
Chat, by the way, I want to point out to you that this right here was great. I thought that was excellent. People are going to be like, what do you mean? Now listen, could the Zenyatta have waited an extra like 1, maybe 2 seconds? Yes. But I think in this situation, when you have a numbers advantage right away, I would rather see the Zenyatta survive this and then like play to assist a team fight and be aggressive than to sit here and wait for the perfect moment. A lot of people struggle with the idea of like of ultimates where you always want this perfect ult. Sometimes an ultimate is just going to be good enough, right? Even though I joke about like, for example, I've been playing more DPS now, right? And I've gotten better at it. And like sometimes we'll joke about how like I use Sojin ultimate for the voice line, but you'd be surprised of what just hitting your ult button does and the voice line does. So back to this, you know, you could have waited an extra second, but I think this is the correct play. The Pharah can't kill you. They're now forced into your team after using a bunch of cooldowns, and you should pretty much have a pretty free team fight because of this. Your teammates are going to feel safe. They're going to have their own ultimates to go with that. This was a correct way to make sure you didn't get rolled. Do I at least finish the voice line? Sometimes. So. Now you've repositioned yourself, you've gotten yourself into a good spot, and your teammates pretty much win the team fight. See? I thought that was excellent, right? Now, granted, like I can give, because obviously I can't like skip ahead here because I have to wait on the timer. An example of where you would want to save your ultimate there is, let's say that like, you know, you didn't get a pick. So we'll do that. Let's say, okay, you didn't get a pick right there in that situation, right? You know they have Grav coming up because they've been on Zarya for a while. You might want to save it there because there's a good chance you're probably not going to be able to win that team fight purely based off of that, right? So there's going to be an example where you don't use your ultimate there, but that one, everything was aligned for you to use that the way you did. You got a pick. They just switched to Zarya, so you don't have Grav. Pharah dove you to try to get a kill, used all their cooldowns to do so. You pop your Zenyatta ultimate, the Pharah falls over, you win the team fight. It was pretty much as good as you could have played it. So I do agree that you've played very well so far to start this match, outside of a couple of like just decisions with like when you stop healing your tank. I think there was a few times where you would leave your tank out to dry, and like sometimes that would get your tank killed or basically get your tank at low HP. Once again, that's easily clean upable. It just means you need to pay attention a little bit more to that. That's it. Briggs End's pretty good as long as your team's willing to not is recognizing you can't be healed. Right? It's a little bit harder in rank to execute that strategy than I normally would in other like type of like situations. Like even like but anyway. In like is clean upable? I don't know. Here we go. Can you see the scoreboard? You cannot. I do hope one day we have the opportunity to see everything with that stuff. Playing up here. Once again, I do like this spot. I think this spot's always a nice location. It creates another angle. It's not my favorite because like sometimes you go up there and you just get poke damage, but you were in the right spot. Your team just got rolled. I mean, straight up, they had a fully charged Zarya. Your team ran in. That's why, once again, playing around the map and playing angles is the better way to play this than just like slamming your face at the choke. It leaves no opportunity to win a team fight if everybody's there. Anyway, let's head back to you. You went to Kiriko. You're on Kiriko now. I mean, the Kiriko swap's fine. I don't love it or hate it. I think it's Kiriko's Kiriko. I mean, I don't think there's any issue here. Don't need to cleanse that, though. That's a waste of a cleanse. Straight up. Remember how I said you leave your tank out to dry sometimes? Notice how both of your teammates are stuck here on critical? This is what I was talking about. That's the one thing I've seen you do a little bit too much of. A little bit too much of. Yeah, well, there's a waste of cleanse again. I wish you had it now, but we'll see what happens. Maybe you get lucky and you have it back in time. Okay, you got it back in time. Yep. Would have been nice to have it sooner than that, because I feel like if you have it sooner than that, you can keep your teammates alive quicker, and they have more opportunity to hold the choke. Now you lose the choke, and you're kind of stuck here, right? Corners. So you know this. Your position is definitely a strength. So I'm not too worried about that.
Feels good, huh?
Don't cleanse yet. I know you want to cleanse. I can see it. You're ready to hit that cleanse button.
Let the kitsune guide you.
The cleanse was honestly okay, but I could tell you were hitting that no matter what. Cleanse. I'm gonna put this into account of one thing. I think sometimes players have an eternal clock on their cooldowns and then forget about their cooldowns. So I don't think that was necessarily... I know on paper we're going, yeah, you got to cleanse that sooner, but I honestly think that was also just like, you have an internal clock on your cooldowns. Kitsune makes your cooldowns come back quicker, and sometimes you just forget about that. I'm just speaking from experience where like sometimes I'll be in a Kitsune and I'll just kind of forget that my cooldowns come back quicker because I'm in just go do damage mode, and I kind of forget because I'm going so fast and things are happening quickly. So... well, obviously you could have suzu'd that a little bit sooner, and maybe there's an opportunity that you survive that. I get why you missed it, right? I get why you missed it. You said they do? Like, oh, you didn't know that? Yes, you get your cooldowns back quicker with Kitsune. Yes. That's why, like, it's really fun to be playing Zarya into, like, a Kitsune, because you get your bubbles much quicker. So you can be more aggressive, because you get the attack speed increase with that, but then you also get, like, your bubbles up quicker, so you can just be fully charged and shred people. Yeah. So that's why, like, I get why that was missed, because I think that's usually what happens in those situations.
Payload's moving.
I'll try.
So rough start here,
Like a gentle
but
rain.
keep at it. You missed your Zarya with cleanse there. You could have been a little bit more.
This ends now.
I mean, the truth is, though, a part of the problem is that you're being forced to use your cleanse in, like, these neutral team fights. Like, that's the thing about Kitsune that I think or not Kitsune, Suzu, that a lot of people forget sometimes, is that, like, if your Kiriko is feeling like they have to use their Suzu on cooldown to keep you alive, you need to readjust your positioning. Or you need to readjust your comp. Because if you're taking that much damage constantly to where the Kiriko can't even, like...
Interesting.
Okay, that was just a bad Kitsune. Or Suzu. But outside of that one, you know?
How's the hunt?
Ready for a home run, Suzu, soon?
Feels good, huh?
Okay, now you have a free opportunity to use your ult.
Let the Kitsune
Okay.
guide you.
Yeah, this is okay. We have found a problem that you are consistently doing, and I think you can fix. You did it again. You left your tank out to dry, okay? Like, and you left your tank out to dry in a situation where, like, you could just win that team fight. So let me show you the example. You're sitting down here, right? Yeah, I can't rewind, otherwise I would, because it might crash my spectator. But what happened here is your Zarya's in a good spot. They use their Suzu, right? So they already used their Suzu. You're at 97, 98% on your Kitsune. You have two options. You just pop your Kitsune forward here and help your Zarya clean up the team fight, win, boom, done. Or you have option number 2, which is the option that probably wouldn't work, is to wall climb up here to go for a Sombra, ignore that your tank is down here, let your tank die, and then now you're in this situation. Do you see what I'm talking about? Where I kind of pointed this out earlier where you were doing that, and you're still doing it. So I don't mind you being aggressive, but your timings are off. You need to sit there and make sure that your tank is in a safe spot and can survive, rather than go up here on the high ground and try to make that play. Somewhere along the line, you were told you just need to do a bunch of damage all the time. While doing damage is key, sometimes as support, you don't need to force it. And that was a forced damage situation. Just keep your teammate alive there, pop your Kitsune, go win the team fight, boom. Now you have a much better map going here. Instead, you do that, and now here you are.
Surrender to my will. Kitsune no Kagizune o Togehamate. Payload's moving.
I personally think, by the way, just so you know, I think that if you don't go for that play on the Sombra and you just Kitsune that, this is a much different game. Even if they cap at a certain point, I still think this is a much different game for you than what we're seeing right now. So that's a part of the problem. You tried to do too much. And that's like, sometimes you put yourself in like the mindset of like, oh, I need to carry this and I need to do this, but like sometimes you doing that also is the reason why you end up losing fights. And I've seen you lose probably, I want to say 3 team fights to the same thing. You just forget about your teammates, and then you leave them, like they're just sitting there and they're not getting healed, and then like, if you don't go and kill 4, you lose, and you're like, your mindset is like, oh, if I don't kill 4, we lose team fights. I hate to break it to you, but if you also keep your teammate alive, then you might not lose a team fight also, right? And the point I'm making here is find the middle ground. Keep your tank alive, and you'll have much better opportunities. Good boy, buddy. The bucket boy is back. Good boy. Okay. Back on Zenyatta. We'll see how it goes. And then Matador, they give you the 13 months that prime sub. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just a good stick by the... Oh, yep, positioning. Now it's happening. You're starting to lose your positioning. You're starting to overthink like what you should do, like on the supports. You could have been on Ana still right now and been fine.
1,000 times to understand.
Nice shot.
Scarcity consumes you.
Second perk, there's a very high chance they pick that perk. It's just broken on the spectator.
Allow me.
All right, I'm ready to see. Ooh.
The hell is its own
Okay.
reward.
Get some kills.
A turret lies in our way.
Still might lose it though. Yep. And this goes back to kind of what we've talked about, where I mean, this is just a hero selection situation. Like you want my take? I think that you have moments of really good individual play, but I think sometimes you need to think about how you can like help your team and what the problem is. And like I think that because of the way that you played, you kind of assumed the problem was that your teammates just needed to get more kills. When in reality, a lot of the time is that you're leaving your tank at critical, and your tank is never able to create space. And I think sometimes people underestimate what space can do for your teammates. And I think that is what the problem is like, yes, you've played well. We're not going to deny that you've had good moments, but I think you've also kind of made it harder on your teammates in certain areas by just not like keeping your tank alive, not keeping, paying attention to your tank. Like you go Zenyatta there because you're like, well, we need more kills. But like the truth is that in the previous fight, when you were on Kiriko, or the previous round, you could have kept your Zarya alive, and now you're looking at a much different game, right? I'm not saying they don't cap that, but maybe you have more time, or they have less time. So I want you to start thinking about that, where you're doing a lot of things right, but now I think you're almost taking yourself out of games sometimes, and you can fix that very easily. You just need to pay attention to your tank a little bit more. So we'll see how your Juno is. Obviously, we haven't seen you play Juno yet.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend.
And we'll see how it goes. Purple, thank you for the 2 gifted. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, if you're gonna have a Rhine, you speed ring them and just be aggressive. There you go. Widow on high, you gotta play position, health pack to your left. Low HP, yo, what the?
Don't give me that decal.
I mean, like right there, everything was fine, and then you had 40 HP and a health pack right next to you when you decided to fly into their team with 40 HP. That's on you.
Can I really do this?
I think you're trying to do too
You
much.
must not think like that.
You think you thought the Moira would heal him? I think I get that, but like the health pack's right there. Even if I'm expecting somebody to heal me there, I'm grabbing that health pack. Yeah. Anyway, so there's the game there. So you lose the game. Let's talk about this. One, I'll start with like the positive note for you is like, I think mechanically you're in a pretty good spot. Like I saw some good aim out of you. I saw good movement. And honestly, I saw some good position out of you too. I obviously like towards the end there, I think it tapered off a little bit, but I think you had the right idea. But your problem is that you straight up you're trying to do too much sometimes. And this is one of those probably less is more situations where let's go back to the basics of what you want to do with things, okay? Doing damage as a support is good. You've probably heard that for a long time. That you if you can find ways to do damage, it's a good idea. But you don't want to force the damage. The damage that you get from players is generally in the neutral or in pre-fight. It's not like what happens later in team fights and where players start to pop off. It's generally because they're set up and they're positioned well for it, and they're also in a spot where they can keep their tank alive, right? Most times this game that you lost team fights was because you decided about halfway through the team fight, I need to start trying to DPS here, and then you would forget about your Zarya. Next thing you know, you look at your Zarya's at 12% HP, it's had to use all their bubbles and can't even go and make plays. I'm telling you right now, if you keep your Zarya alive and they're at full charge like they were the majority of the game, that other team is not going to have a good time, especially with how frequent your Zarya was able to get map control. So I need you to start to think more about keeping your tank alive, keeping your teammates alive, and then going into damage, not, okay, I healed my teammate to 65% HP, we haven't got a kill yet in 5 seconds, I'm now going to taper off and try to go force kills. Ain't gonna work that way. It's almost like you're playing Zenyatta on every roll. Let's focus on that, take a step back, keep your teammates alive, use your mechanics to get the kills when the timing is right, and then you're going to climb. But that's why you essentially lost this game. Not fully on you, but you certainly weren't, like you had good moments, but like
months. That's
you could have done a lot
year.
more to help that.
Also,
is what I'm saying.
I thought
So let's get into the
Overwatch
habit
was
of
done.
keeping your teammates alive more and then go into the damage rather than I do enough, now I'm going in to do damage, and whatever happens, happens. All right? So clean that up, and I think you'll climb. You got this. You absolutely got this. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTubes, or all the YouTubes if you haven't. I don't even know how many you have. Leave a comment. All of that helps. If you want to submit your own spectating, look in the description below. That's where my Discord is. We also record these live on stream. You can see the Twitch chat below the webcam. We also stream on YouTube, so stop by if you haven't. With that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.